Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. I really appreciate you being with me. I just want to express my profound appreciation for all of the wonderful emails I've been receiving. And by the way, thank you so much for the response to my special holiday discount offers. I'm offering all of my books at a 25% discount until Christmas, and a lot of you have taken advantage of that. And you know, we're only a few days until Christmas here, so if you want to take advantage of that special offer, again, 25% off until Christmas. And so go to my websites, www.eschatology.org or www.bibleprophecy.com, and pick out the books that you want. And be sure when you submit your order that in the note section you include the word YouTube or YouTube special or something like that. And that way, when I process the order, then I will refund 25% of the price of the books. All right, I'm sharing with you my journey to the full preterist paradigm, and one of my viewers, actually several, have asked me, okay, the full preterist view is clearly at odds with historical Christianity. No bones about it. So, can it be demonstrated that the historical and creedal church did in fact miss it in regard to the nature of the coming of the Lord? Now, one of my books that is on special, Like Father, Like Son, on Clouds of Glory. Now, this has been called the most definitive and the most exhaustive work on the nature of the coming of the Lord that has been produced. Jesus said in Matthew 16:27, the Son of Man will come in the glory of the Father. It's fascinating to me that so many scholars almost just gloss over that. But the scholars who do focus on it notice that Jesus was saying, essentially, I'm going to come like my Father has come. Just like he said in John chapter 5:18 and following. The Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do, the Son will do likewise. Okay? It's just another way of saying, I'm going to come like my Father had come. So that clearly raises the issue, how had the Father come? Now, a lot of people would say, well, the Father had never come. Well, yes, he had. One of the most famous stories, you remember how Saul chased David all over the countryside in Israel to kill him? And on two different occasions, David slipped into Saul's camp, either took his possessions or cut off the corner of his robe, and all that's found in 1 Samuel chapter 21 and following, of course, and then announced to Saul what he had done and said, I don't intend to kill you. Well, David, in chronicling those extremely stressful times, how Saul sought to kill him, David chronicled that. Here's how he described the stress of Saul's attempt to kill him, his prayer to Yahweh for deliverance, and God's answer to that prayer. All right? I'm going to read to you from Psalms 18, starting in verse 4. Now, remember, he's describing past events, how Saul chased him to kill him, how he prayed to God for deliverance, how God answered his prayer. The pangs of death encompassed me. The floods of ungodliness made me afraid. The sorrows of Sheol surrounded me. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried out to my God. He heard my voice from his temple, and my cry came before him, even to his ears. Now, watch this very carefully. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of the hills quaked and were shaken, because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, devouring fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled in it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down. With darkness under his feet, he rode upon a cherub and flew. He flew upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His canopy around him was dark waters, thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him, his thick clouds passed with hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice. Hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered the foe. Lightnings in abundance, and he vanquished them. Then the channels of the waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were uncovered at your rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils. And then the next verse, he delivered me from the strong enemy. Okay, now wait a minute. Here is David being pursued by Saul. He prays to God for deliverance, and he says God came out of heaven. He came down. He came with a shout. He came with thunder. He came with lightning. He came with hailstones. Well, let me ask you to do something. Go back to 1 Samuel chapter 21. Read the entire account there and in Chronicles as well, and see if you can find any of that happening literally. Did God ever literally, visibly, bodily, and physically come out of heaven? No. So here we have this extremely exaggerated, metaphoric, may I use the term apocalyptic language, of God coming to rescue David. He came in judgment of David's enemies. Now, how did he do that? Well, he ultimately did that by bringing the Philistines against Saul and destroying Saul. David was delivered at the coming of the Lord against Israel/Saul. Has the historic church traditionally taught that? Is that what's in the creeds? Remember, this is how Jesus said he was coming. Jesus said, I'm going to come like the Father has come. Here's the Father coming in fire, with a shout, on the clouds. So, the answer to the question, has the historic church taught this? No, it hasn't. Oh, have there been some scholars here and there that have noticed this and taken note of the fact that this is a coming of the Lord, it's a day of the Lord, and it was not a literal, visible, bodily, physical coming? Yes, there have been some scholars that have noted that. It hasn't been, quote, the orthodox position, unquote, of the church. That pretty well demonstrates that orthodoxy has not been the biblical truth. Hey, thanks for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. Hey, look, I've got to tell you, I've got this and really a ton more stuff and documentation in this book, Like Father, Like Son, on Clouds of Glory. Don't forget, just a few days left. Take advantage, 25% off. Go to my websites, order your copy, let me know you saw the offer on YouTube. I'll refund 25% of the purchase price of the book. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you on the flip side.